Well, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Board of Trustees regular meeting of September 28th, 2021. It is the final board meeting with this group of board members. To begin, I would like to state our territorial acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Nations, which include the Kainai, the Siksika, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina and Stoney Nakoda First Nations, and the Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. First on our agenda is approval of the agenda. I have a motion. Donna. Okay. Any additions that need to be made? Call the question, all in favor? So carried. 2 is the approval of the minutes. By time to read through them. Are there any additions or? Thank you, Donna. Call the question, all in favor? So carried. No business rising from the minutes. We now have our presentation. The first is a Making Connections presentation. And I believe Deanna Preston-Roberts is waiting for us on team. Maureen, would you like to, was it you introducing? Sorry, I didn't put you on the spot there.
Never putting me on the spot. Deanna, welcome. Are you there?
I am.
Excellent. So Deanna, that fine young lady up on the screen, does some amazing work in supervising our Making Connections mental health capacity building project, and works very closely with Kathy Mundell, our counseling coordinator, to ultimately support our system with wellness. And we thought what a great opportunity at this juncture of the year to get Deanna to present to the board, to really share what Deanna's been doing the last 2 months while many of us in education are perhaps having a summer holiday. Her team is revving up for some great work. So Deanna, it's great to have you here, and thanks for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you very much, Greg. Can you see mental health capacity building highlights on the screen?
We can.
Okay, awesome. Because the other one's blank, so that would be no good. Thank you for having me. I just wanted to share with you some things that mental health capacity building has done between June and August, as well as touched on what will occur with Ready, Set, Go this year. So to jump right into it, let's talk about what Connect for Wellness was. And so this was an initiative started by MHCB to encourage connection amongst staff that weren't necessarily able to connect like years past. They weren't able to socialize in staff rooms, have lunch together, or any of those things due to the COVID restrictions and protocols. And so we thought, what else could we do to just reinforce that relationships that our colleagues have with each other when they're not able to necessarily see each other from day to day? So what we did is from June 1st to 18th, we invited Lethbridge School Division staff to spark connection with each other through our first ever Connect for Wellness project. On June 1st, we encouraged individuals to submit words of appreciation and gratitude and recognition of one another through a Microsoft Teams form. When that form got completed, it came to us, and then we created a little postcard as a memento for those individuals that were receiving those notes of gratitude and thanks and recognition within an acknowledgement. So we sent out those postcards to each and every single school. What we thought would be weekly, it turned out to almost be a daily event, just simply because of the amount of notes that were getting sent across the division and flooding inboxes. The nice thing about it is the recipients, when they received their postcard, it was almost an instant reach out to that individual to thank them and acknowledge them in return. So it almost created this flood of positive energy amongst the division as postcards went out, and of course, with postcards went chocolates. So you can see that Overall, 1,438 postcards were sent out that were formal postcards, and 28.4 pounds of tubs of chocolate accompanied those notes that went out. We got tons of feedback from staff in regards to this initiative. They loved it, they appreciated it, the notes that they received actually let them know of things and qualities in which they weren't necessarily aware of prior to that, that their colleagues were noting and taking notice of. So it's just that wonderful opportunity to get wrapped in love from one another when we necessarily haven't been able to feel that this year due to COVID restrictions. Also throughout the summer, we did free pop-up wellness fairs in partnership with Bradley Center, Building Brains, Holy Spirit School Division, and the public library. So throughout the summer, we would go to the same location twice at different times of the day, and every booth would hand out little bundles. And those bundles would have an activity for families to do, as well as information regarding community resources, as well as up-to-date information as to like what was open, what was happening in the city, and that kind of thing, to encourage families to get up and out and participate in our community during a time in which they hadn't been able to enjoy our community as much in the past. So Lefford School Division gave out 3 activity kits. Each bundle was themed around whatever the theme was for that week. So it could have been arts and crafts, it could have been nature, it could have been music, that type of thing. So the activity associated in the bag was also in relation to the theme of that week. So here's a picture at Henderson of our bee bags. It was our connection bag, which reinforced connection amongst individuals, as well as there was a connection walking prompts throughout the park as well during the time that we were there. This is one of our other activities, and it was a birdhouse, and it was a reflection of calm spaces and creating calm spaces. So every bag had an activity, and every bag that we gave out had mental health education as well as information on how to access mental health services in Lethbridge. So throughout the summer, we had over 1,824 training and caregivers attend activities. Over 1,100 bundles were given out. 300 Kona Ice beverages were given out as well, and 400 hot dogs. So it was a wonderful event put on by a partnership of a bunch of agencies within town, and then we had applied for a City of Lethbridge event grant, which was allowed us to do a bunch of those activities like Kona Ice and hot dogs and stuff like that. So that kind of brings me to Ready Set Go. Ready Set Go has really looked different over the last 2 years with not being able to have a fair. So what we've done is we've partnered with some community agencies to assist us in being able to give out supplies to kids in need without actually knowing how many kids in need we actually have returning to our schools each year. So it's just an anticipation of the need. So this year was a partnership with My City Care and the Stop the Bus campaign. So Stop the Bus hosted 3 events, one at Fleetwood, which got rained out and got moved to the Multicultural Center, one at the YMCA, and one at the Middle School, all on the same week. So we had registration for those events in which families registered for an online portal, and My City Care met that switching a past Ready Set Go has actually met. What Ready Set Go did was ensure that everyone had supplies. So we made sure every school in Lethbridge had backpacks on hand for any student that arrived first day of school without the supplies in which they needed. Those backpacks they were able to pull from if needed, just to supplement, or if they were eating the whole thing, and they were able to just do that on site as needs presented. This year we had sponsors, monetary sponsors for Knights of Columbus, Takata, which is actually Daytona Homes, but Daytona Homes is no longer in Lethbridge, so that's the parent company of Daytona Homes. And we have a Lake Ranway select us as a recipient this year of his community funding that he gave out. We had an unexpected donation of over 800 backpacks from Lethbridge College and the Lethbridge Summer Games, which got canceled. It really helped to offset costs, because backpacks typically are our most expensive supply that we give out. They were amazing black backpacks that were neutral and that type of thing. So it was just absolutely amazing to be able to have that receipt donation unexpectedly. Oh, what happened there? That's not good. And then just a big thank you to Victoria Park High School, which allowed us their gym over the summer to pack all 800 of those backpacks, as well as we have building brains permanent assistants on Monday mornings all summer long, and being able to stuff those backpacks. So great thanks to our friends out there in the community that makes this thing happen. That's all I have to say. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much, Deanna. Are there any questions for Deanna? Well, I've had the privilege of working alongside Deanna for the past 4 years in our Poverty Intervention Committee. And Deanna, I think you do such a phenomenal job seeing our students and meeting their needs and connecting them to the places and the people where they get the highest support that we can give them. So I thank you for doing your job with excellence, for serving our students with care, and I think you're just the perfect fit for your position. So thank you for all that you do and for sharing a little window of that with us today.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Have a great day.
Okay, take care, Deanna. All right, we will now move on to Friends of 51. Cheryl, are you going to speak to that, or?
Friends of 51 is one of the board committees, and certainly as we were privileged to engage in today between 1 and 2 o'clock, honoring businesses, individuals who go above and beyond, whether it be through work, in other words, contributing themselves that way, or donations or otherwise, to support and promote learning in our schools. And Mike, do you have anything to add or anything to add about today's event?
I'd say just a big thank you to everybody who helped organize the event, doing the wonderful job. So thank you, Heather. And yeah, it sure was nice to see the recognition of the community, and we're grateful for the support that we received from our community.
And if I'm understanding correctly, that list of individuals and businesses will be showcased on our website following the event. So that will be up this week. And again, just really thankful for the numbers of people and the contributions that come towards.
Thank you, Cheryl. Next on our agenda is Trustee Recognition. As I said at the beginning of our meeting, this is our final board meeting as this body of trustees. And I would just like to say it has been a pleasure to work with you all. We are a diverse group of people, and we all have brought significant strength to this group and to this division. And I think each person here has marked our division for the better. And I know that each person here is sitting around this table because you care for kids and you want what is best for kids in our division, as well as our staff and our families. So thank you for your service. What we're going to do is we would like to honor those who will not be returning again in October. And so Tyler is going to assist me. So he will be the gift giver. And we have some some beautiful apples that we're going to distribute. And so I will, I'll just share a few words for each. Tyler will deliver the gift, and then if you would like opportunity to say a few things, Doug, just a few things, we'll give you opportunity for that. And if you would rather pass, that is both you two. So Clark, you led our team for 3 years, and I just want to say thank you for your time and your leadership, and you brought an administrative perspective that I greatly appreciated. You wholeheartedly advocated for our staff. You have a perspective on where they're coming from that I don't. And so I really appreciated the light that you brought to our team. And you also advocated strongly for inclusion of all students, and you were passionate about that, and I appreciated the fight that you had for students. So on behalf of the division, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of this team. It's been a pleasure. I have learned a lot from you, and all the best to you as you go forward. And so Tyler has an apple for you, and in recognition of you serving us as chair, we also have a gavel for you as well. Thank you.
The math?
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
No, no.
No speech from Clark. Okay. Because I said it all. Doug, it has been a pleasure to work with you. To me, you have been a mentor. You have been an example and an ear to process things through, and just your advice I've really appreciated. And your passion for education is evident, and in all the areas that you touch. And you fight hard, and you speak wholly to all students being included. You've been on our Indigenous community committee, and you have really strengthened our division in our goal, our quest, our journey in honoring reconciliation and including our Indigenous students and setting them up for success. So I thank you for your part in that. And you've also brought an administrator's perspective, and you're never shy to hold back your thoughts. And your encouragement, you're also an encourager. So I just thank you for the way that you've impacted our division as a trustee, as well as for your years of service as a teacher and administrator. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the kind words. I just want to say, working in the district for 35 years, I should have a tattoo somewhere of a Division 51, but I want to say that, and then the segue of being a trustee for another 4 was very, very good for me. The one thing I can say as a trustee and those incoming is I really thought I had a perspective on what was going on in our district. And it all came from where I was operating out of the schools. And the one thing I've learned over the 4 years is our people in this district truly, truly care for kids. And I know we've gone through frustrating times, particularly the last year and a half. But at the end of the day, I was so impressed with everyone, all from our caretakers, our admin assistants, our administrators, our teachers, the kids. This is an amazing district that does a lot of things. And if we don't get it right the first time, we will come back and try it again. And that's always been the strength of our division. So thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to being a full-time grandpa and but I did really appreciate these years. So again, good luck to all of you. I will be watching and seeing how things are going. I may be a little watchdog here, you know, I can never get away from it, but bottom line is, I want to say to the parents here, this is a very good division, great people, and they're doing the best that they can, and always looking for improvement. So thanks again. Thank you. Oh, picture time.
Donna, you have served our division as trustee for 2 terms, like 8 years, and that's following a lengthy and successful career as an elementary school teacher, and just the ways that you've impacted our division are really incredible. You've touched the lives of many students, and in your role as trustee, you've touched the lives of staff as well as parents. And I know I've appreciated your perspective as an educator. Again, you have a perspective that I do not have, and your insights were always valuable. And you see things differently than I do sometimes, and I appreciate the ways that you've opened doors for me to explore. You have a passion for the finance of our division. You have a passion for accountability for our division, and I've appreciated that greatly. And I think we are stronger because of that. And you value transparency. And I think your work on the wellness committee, you are always wanting students and staff to be better, to be whole, and to look at the whole person, and look at the division holistically. So I thank you for the ways that your perspective and your voice has just impacted our community. Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to say how wonderful it's been to be on this board for 8 years. The opportunities, the chance to learn, the chance to make a difference. It's been awesome for me. But the one thing I want you to know is that every single person in this district works from the perspective of what's best for kids. And whenever there are tough decisions, it always comes back, what is the very best for our kids? And I think that's a wonderful quality, and I congratulate all the administrators and administrative staff at this table. And I thank you for all of the work you do. It's been a wonderful opportunity to work with it as a trustee on this board. Thank you.
Lola, you have served our division as trustee for 4 terms. That's 14 years of your life where you've impacted students, and through your leadership, you've made our division stronger and better, and you've given your insight and your experience. And I think I'm one of the few people, I feel like, in this town who haven't been taught by you. And I think there are so many people who I've spoken to, and there's nothing but gracious, positive, loving things said. And I think that's because you share your heart and you make people feel important and valuable and seen. And I think that is an incredible gift. And so I just want to say thank you for serving our division through your years as a teacher, but as a trustee and continuing to advocate for students. And I know You have such a passion for advocating for students and wanting what is best. And I thank you for continuing that journey, and we just wish you all the best in the next season. Thank you.
Most of my life has been with teaching and in the Republic, and the opportunities that I was able to do, given. I got in trouble a few times. Not often, but I got in trouble a few times. But it was not having any children of my own, and everybody else's, and unbelievable. And I know I'm going to cry. So I just thank you for allowing me. And there's a few of you in here are either taught your grandchildren, some of you taught Ted. And it was just a wonderful experience. And I wish I was younger and still had the get up and go that I don't have anymore. So thanks.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna turn you this way.
Get the gray hair.
Are you thinking of my gray hair?
And last and definitely not least is Jan. Jan, you have served this division as trustee for 7 terms. That is 24 years of speaking for kids, advocating for teachers, advocating for families. And I can't even begin to speak to the impact that you've had on our division. You have always been guiding us to a healthy and strong governance model. You fight hard for what's best for kids. You are not afraid to give your perspective. You are not afraid to push back a little bit to help others see outside their box and to help others see a different side to things. And I really, I respect that and I appreciate that, and I thank you for the ways that you've taught me to advocate and speak. And so, Jan, for your years, your 24 years, I just want to say thank you so much for your years of service, for investing your life in our students, for investing your life in this division. We are better and stronger because of you. So thank you.
Thank you very much for those kind words, and I hope I can get through this. Thank you. I wrote this down because there were certain things I wanted to say, and I thought I'd write it down so that I know I can leave here with how I feel. And I guess it all starts back in 1983. I can't believe that. When Ken Smith, some of you maybe will remember him. As a matter of fact, he was a principal in this building. And then went on to become a trustee on the board for a number of years. Anyways, in 1983, he urged me to run for the school board, and I wasn't quite sure what it was all about, but I thought, well, After 40-some foster kids, putting them through the school system and my own kids, I thought, well, maybe I will try. And so I was surprised I got elected. And I never imagined that 7 terms and 23 years later, I would be still sitting at this board table. As I watch many students, including my own, go through this education system, I've always been in awe of the wonderful teachers and support staff that we have in our division. It's been my privilege and delight to work alongside these professionals in our schools and in central office to ensure the best possible education for our students. I've worked as a team member on many boards, many boards, and always respected the many contributions made by my fellow trustees, and I thank them all for their support. I leave this position with mixed feelings, but I know with confidence, really good confidence, that this board will continue to work together for the best thing for the students of the Lethbridge School Division. So thanks very much for the privilege of being able to sit around the board table and hopefully make, or at least partake in good decisions for our kids, because that's, in the end, that's what it's all about. So thanks. Go back here and stand or somewhere. There we go.
All right, thank you, everyone. I think that was one of my highlights of this month. That was great. Now we will move on to 5.1, locally developed course approval. Oh, before I do, my apologies. What we've done is to honor Lola and Jan, because they've served so many years. Garrett has helped us compile a video honoring the two of you. And so what we will do is at the end of our board meeting, it'll be difficult to show it up on the screen for the public to see it in this space. We as a board will watch it together, and then this video will be posted online for our community to be able to see and partake in that. Now, we will move to locally developed course approval, high school. All right.
So this is a quick one, and an apology that it didn't come with the usual slew of requests that Doug so fervently loves to do. This is an addition that did come late to us, and it is fortunately going to be used in second semester from St. Albert. And so the recommendation is just that the Board of Trustees approve the use of LDC 3608, extended essay 2021 for 3 credits required from St. Albert School Division from September 1st, 2021 to August 31st, 2025 to enhance program offerings for our students.
All right. Move to approve the LDC 3608 extended essay 2021-35 for 3 credits acquired from St. Albert School Division from September 1st, 2021 to August 31st, 2025 to enhance program offerings to students.
Thank you. Any questions? Call the question, all in favor? So carried. Middle school, all right.
thank you, and this as well is a late addition, but one that came as a result of really the pandemic flip, and then as well teachers who were willing and interested in this passion elective, but we would like to introduce dinosaurs in paleontology, grade 6 through 8, locally developed for grade 7 to 9 course in our middle and high schools from September 1st, 2021 to 2025.
Move to approve the use of dinosaurs in paleontology, 6 to 8 locally developed for grade 7 to 9 courses in all division, middle and high schools from September 1st, 2021 to August 31st, 2025.
Thanks, Doug. Any questions? Oh, Maureen.
I just want to say thank you to our schools. I know Karen Rancier has really tightened up this process, and it is amazing given that we are experiencing learning in a pandemic and still the willingness for our teachers to offer really diverse subject matter to our kids. So just a special thank you out to our schools.
Thank you, Maureen. Call the question. All in favor? So carried. All right, we will move on to division highlights. I will open it up to the floor. I don't think we'll go around the table, but if you have highlights to share from this past month, we would love to hear them. Doug.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank Christine Lee for taking the role there of first ride for the students with the boundary changes and all these changes for the families, lots of anxiety and this and that. But she put on a 2-day event, and what a great opportunity for some of us that were there. I wish I was there longer, but I couldn't make it. But I do say the families that got back to me, felt very comfortable. The kids were so excited. It was really good for our provider to actually explain things. It was good learning for everyone in the community. And I would really recommend you consider it on an annual basis. Probably wouldn't have to be as big, swaggy as it was, but it was wonderful. And again, thank you for doing that. It was a great experience.
Donna.
I'd like to say thanks for a great opening of our new school, Dr. Robert Blackson. It was outside, it was a little cool, but it was a beautiful experience and a wonderful tribute to a great superintendent.
Jen.
I have the honor of attending the presentation to the Friends of 51 earlier this afternoon. And it just seems like every year we get more and more people in our community that understand the struggles that a lot of our young people have, either with problems at home or not being able to get enough food at times, and the way that the members of our community step up and put their time. They talked about this one couple that goes 3 times a week to make a meal for kids at one of the schools. Companies that have donated money to purchase laptops for students who not otherwise not be able to afford them. Just on and on and on. And I guess as I leave this position, I'll always be conscious of and continue to promote community involvement in all of our schools and for all of our kids. So thanks again to all those folks who stand up for our kids.
Thank you, Jen. Anyone else? of attending the raising of the Blackfoot Confederacy flag at City Hall last week, and I couldn't help but reflecting how incredible of a moment that actually is, as we continue to move towards building a more inclusive community, a broader community leverage, and a more inclusive community in our school division. And so I am hopeful that it's just another step closer for being in a division where our Indigenous students feel included and accepted, and all students feel that we have a welcoming and safe and inclusive division in school. I also was at the Friends of 51 recognition, and I'm like Jan, I thought it was really great. We were out in the parking lot and we were socially distanced, but it was so great to be outside with everybody together and see all the faces representing the organization and the people who contribute to our kids. And it takes a village to raise a child, and part of our village was out there. And it's amazing how you can support a child so deeply with something so practical and simple. So it was great to be able to honor those donors and supporters of our division, and just to know that so many students have been supported and so many families have been supported as well. All right, we will now move on to our information items. And first is the board chair reports. I'll start with community engagement. Our board values engaging students, staff, and parents and public members in different ways as part of our role as governors. And we're always looking for ways to improve this. We're always looking for ways to hear parents and staff and students, an assurance framework that guides the governance role, including planning and reporting. Our engagement will continue with enhancements intended to visibly highlight and track engagement activities for our community partners. And so one of these enhancements is going to be an engagement website that will house all engagement activities and outcomes of those activities. I'm very excited about this. And so I'm going to invite our communication officer, Garrett Simmons, just to take a few minutes to share what the site will look like once it is launched. Garrett. And then Garrett, maybe I'll ask you to, if you could speak into a mic, that would be helpful.
Okay, lost and I think off, but it's kind of off that. So basically what we're looking at here is creating a community engagement website that basically encapsulates all of our community engagement projects all in one place. So it's going to be a place where people can go kind of scale. It's a one-stop shop where everyone can take a look at all the projects we have on the go and all the projects we have coming up in the future. And they can basically just take a look at all the information we have out there in terms of videos, text information, all our survey results. It'll all be housed kind of in one location where everyone can see it. And it'll be basically housed on our website. So you'll see it just right on the front page of our website. So right in the front page of our website, once it's live, we'll see we'll have a link right here, right where that rating plan link is. So it'll be a very easily accessible place to access all the information you possibly want on all of our engagement projects. So that's basically the long and short of it. It's basically just meant to be kind of a repository for all of our projects we have throughout the year, and just allow people to have one place to go to find all the information.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Garrett. Are there any questions for Garrett about this site? Well, I'm excited about it because it's one more step where we can engage with our community. And we started this year off with a survey. I know I'll have Cheryl go through the outcomes of the survey, but this is the website that The survey results will be housed, and we anticipate doing more surveys and more intentional feedback loops in the future. And this is a place, this is the hub of where those conversations can happen. So Cheryl, if I could get you to please share the outcomes of our survey. Oh yes, Tyler.
Sorry, when did I miss it? When are we expecting that will be live?
Tomorrow if you want.
Oh, so right away. Okay, there you go. Right away.
Live tomorrow.
And for example, the survey responses that I'll share at the board meeting today are ready to be posted on that engagement website. And certainly what the public will be able to see right away as well is some of the engagement projects that we did last year will be up there so that we can look back and see what some of those things were. And then as Garrett said, a place to house sort of that whole piece of how the board is engaging with the public and what the public response has been. And so because it's easier for the public to go there and as well there'll be sort of a place where individuals can ask questions or bring up topics of concern, and then that will go to the board for consideration. So I'm excited about that for sure. For the board, it gives a place for them to sort of promote what it is that they're doing with community engagement. So if we go to the survey that we did, now the purpose of the survey, and it was interesting because the survey almost changed over time because of the number of changes by government over time. So the purpose of the survey really was the board asked, what can we do to get some feedback about what it looked like for parents, for students, and for staff going back to school with the re-entry plan for 2021-2022. What was their experience like? As well as what is their perspective regarding some of the protocols. And so it's for the board to be able to have a fairly, a broader sense of understanding of how people are feeling about how school started, how they're feeling about some of the protocols in place. And so it's quite a comprehensive set of data. I'll start with some highlights. There's some qualitative or the comment pieces or questions that are at the end. Certainly I won't read all of those. It will be for the public to go there and highlight those. So certainly, I don't know if we can bring it up on the screen. Yeah, let's bring it up on the screen. Thank you, Leanne. Great participation, 3,130 responses. The breakdown is there. So we had 54% of the parent caregivers were elementary, 24% high school, 22% middle school, 941 responses from parents. So great response and thank you parents for taking the time to do that survey so that there could be a good understanding. Student responses, 1,854, and those students represented from grade 4 through to grade 12. We did have the primary level grades 1, 2, and kindergarten 1, 2, and 3 do this survey. And staff responses, the participation 335 staff responded to the survey. And so the first set of questions was basically determining how did you feel before you went back to school, before you sent your child back to school, before you went back to work. Once you read that re-entry plan, how are you feeling about that? How confident were you about sending your child back to school or going to school or going to work? For parents, their confidence in sending their child to school, 65% were confident or very confident about sending their child to school, and 27% were worried or very worried. And so certainly, we're trying to have an understanding of how people felt with that. Students, 66% were confident, and only 14% were worried or very worried. Somewhat worried or very worried. Staff, who are the ones who have to implement the protocols, ones who are starting to feet on the ground, making sure things are working. 48% are confident or very confident with coming back to work, and 41% were worried or very worried coming back. So what was that experience overall? So how did everyone feel when they actually did come back? How was that experience in terms of how positive it was? And so when we asked parents and caregivers how positive was the experience for your child, 84% said agreed that it was positive or strongly agreed that it was positive. That's, but only 7% said that it was, disagreed or strongly disagreed that it was positive. So certainly a testament to the hard work of schools getting ready for the seamless transition of students back to the school, and of course, just sort of that whole welcoming, safe place for kids to be, and the care and attention that we're giving to the students living like that. And the students, how did they feel? 74% agreed or strongly agreed that it was positive, only 7% said otherwise, and 62% agreed or strongly agreed that it was a positive return, and 21% disagreed or strongly disagreed the experience was positive. We had the question given about whether the re-entry plan provided sufficient information to parents and to staff. 83% of parents agreed that it gave sufficient amount of information. 60% of staff agreed or strongly agreed it gave sufficient information. And in the qualitative, or in other words, the comments that were provided as one of the questions, some really good recommendations, both from parents and staff, about how we can improve re-entry planning moving forward. The revision for masks, we've got 49% of parents agreed, strongly agreed that high school masks in high schools was common areas was a good choice. And we had 57% of staff agreed that that was a good choice. Some further questions regarding some of the measures or mitigation strategies put in place. So the decision to have masks in class when students are interacting, but still able to take masks off when they are working independently at their desks. 56% of parents agreed that that's a good change. 33% disagreed or strongly disagreed. 49% of students agreed or strongly agreed that it was made them feel safer. And 26% of students disagreed or strongly disagreed that it made them feel safer to wear masks when they were interacting with students. Staff, 53% agreed that it was made them feel safer, and 26% disagreed. Then we asked about wearing masks in common areas, such as hallways and libraries and anywhere where there's compressed space. Parents and caregivers, 57% agreed that it helped contribute to safety or the feelings of safety. 32% disagreed that it made them feel safe or the feelings of safety. Students, 57% agreed or strongly agreed that wearing masks in the common areas contributed to their feelings of safety, and 19% disagreed or strongly disagreed that wearing masks in common areas contributed to their feelings of safety. And for staff, 68% agreed or strongly agreed it made them feel safer. For masks in common areas, only 19%, similar to students, disagreed or strongly disagreed that it made them feel safe. So the question was asked, it's not happening now because we don't have masks required 100% of the time. As mentioned, when students are sitting at their desks, working independently, and not interacting with other students, they can have, they can take a break from their masks. So when asked the question, you had to wear a mask all the time and not be able to take them off at all, would that increase feelings of safety? 40% of parents agreed that it would. 15% of parents disagreed or strongly disagreed. Students, only 10% of students agreed that it would make them feel safer, and 65% of students disagreed or strongly disagreed that it would make them feel safer. And then, it should say, but then the staff, 50% agreed or strongly agreed it would make them feel safer, and 36% disagreed. Then it went on to the large gatherings piece. 54% of parents and caregivers agreed that not having large gatherings inside the schools contributed to feelings of safety. 35% disagreed. 30% of students agreed that it made them feel safer. 34% disagreed. You'll notice the biggest piece for students was neutral. In other words, they didn't have an opinion one way or the other was the biggest one there at 36%. Staff felt strongly on this question. 72% agreed that it made them feel safer, strongly. And with the after-school activities, it was an elementary question only, because the middle school and high school do have some after-school activities and sports going on. Certainly loud and clear, 68% of parents agreed or strongly agreed they would love to see some activities begin to happen. 64% of students agreed that they would like to see some events happen, and 50% of staff agreed they would like to see some things begin to happen. With any, as perhaps as things begin to look a little bit different in terms of our numbers, certainly we know that there's a strong desire for that to happen. In terms of the cohorts of 50 at a maximum in the elementary school, 54% of parents thought that was a good number, 32% of students, and 47% of staff. And the final statistical type of information, students were asked if they were choosing to wear their mask at all times in the school building. And elementary, 32% of students said yes, they were wearing it at all times. 48% of middle school students said they were, and 51% of high school students said they were. So that gives us an indication of what are the choices that the kids are making inside the school. And this again will be up on our engagement website right away. At the back, it has those who filled out the survey. There's a summary of the themes that can be drawn out from the responses. And I'll just give an example. For example, one of the questions to parents was, in a few sentences, please tell us the best things about your child's return to school experience. And so to draw out what are the common responses, it was drawn out by words or phrases. And so there wouldn't have been, I don't think, any common responses that were left out of the summary. The summary has words or phrases of what were the common kinds of perspectives that parents shared for that question. So for example, common responses included having a social aspect for my child, seeing their friends, the teachers, positive welcoming staff, personalized to help my child, extracurricular activities, lockers, options, normal routine, and on and on. And so all of those pieces are part of the reentry plan summary that you'll see, and it includes students, staff, what was great about returning, what's been most challenging about the return, and what some of their thoughts are about improvements, and some of their thoughts are after their experience has been occurring over the few weeks that they started before they moved to district.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Are there any questions or comments regarding the survey?
I just want to thank those people involved for putting the survey together. I think it's very important to do this and give the feedback to everyone, especially in these times when we have lots of questions out in the community. And it's really important to see that it's on our website and it's accessible, and by the description, it's very easy to follow, and it will add for further conversation and ways we deal with things. So thanks again for doing that. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug. Anyone else? Well, I would just like to thank all the participants of the survey and just for the time that you spent sharing your perspective and your thoughts on our school reentry. It's valuable information for the board. This is more, there's more individuals giving feedback in this survey than we've received emails, and so it helps to give a broader perspective of how our community and our division experience the school startup. And I think it's valuable, not just for the board, but for our community. It allows parents to see the perspective of students and staff the perspectives of others. And should students see the information, students as well. So thank you again. I echo what Doug said. Thank you for all who helped collate this and put this together. And we look forward to more opportunities to engage with our community. All right, we will move on to ASBA curriculum feedback. The other week I had ASBA hosted a board chairs meeting, and one of the items on the agenda was the K-6 draft curriculum. We are continuing our advocacy to the government to create a curriculum that is inclusive and sets our students up for success. And so the minister has set up opportunities for feedback and for review, and one of them is on Have Your Say at alberta.ca. So anybody from the public can go and give feedback that way. Now, as a board, to pull it into a more local context, we would like to invite the community to engage in this conversation. I think it's really important to get the perspective of our parents and our teachers and our students, and we welcome this community. So what we're going to be doing, and this feedback is going to be welcomed by the Ed Minister as well as Alberta School Board Association, as we're going to be, the division will be implementing community information sessions, followed by feedback loops posted on the board engagement website. So the first session will provide background information regarding curricular development and content. I think it's really important that we all start on a level playing field of understanding of how a curriculum is developed and what the content currently is. And it will be hosted the evening of Tuesday, October 19th at 6:30 p.m. And this is going to be a virtual meeting with the first set of feedback topics posted on the website following the session. And so I believe communication will go out on School Messenger and through parents, or sorry, my apologies, school council. All right, now we move on to board standing committee's annual reports and terms of reference review. We will start with the board audit committee. Tyler, I think that one's here.
Unfortunately, I was not able to make that meeting, so how about if I hand it over to Christine Lee, who would love to chat about it.
Absolutely, Tyler, thank you, I will take that one for you. We have, of course, our year-end report from the audit committee. So the audit committee was for this is for the 2020-21 year. We always have a first meeting where we meet with the auditors and plan the audit. And then we have a second meeting after the audit last year, November, and we talk about audit findings and areas for improvement. There was no audit findings on the division audit. We had a few areas which will generate funds, so we always work to do that. The audit committee also met in just recently again for the next year to start planning that. And of course, we were announced this summer that we received the Canadian Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 2019-2020 audited financial report, and that's our 4th year of receiving that, so we're very proud of that. And that's the year-end report.
Thank you, Christine. Any questions? All right, we'll move on to board budget committee.
All the information is there. And any questions? We're all part of that.
Thanks, Clark. Any questions? All right, we'll move on to community engagement committee. Jan.
Yes, we have our report there. We I'm pleased to say that even though, we weren't able to have very many meetings, we did, have our, scholarship breakfast and, student, winners, and, this is the 5th year for this. As you can see, we had a total of 6 award scholarship recipients, 3 from grades 9 and 10, and 3 from 11 and 12. And it was a very, very hard decision. They came forward with some just excellent projects, and one that I don't like to just pick out one, but I noticed that that the first one there, the 2 young men that did the cigarette butt recycling, the city of Lethbridge has taken that on, and now they have been throughout the community, and the money raised, they're giving back into the community. So good for them, and all the others just did a wonderful presentation. And then the other event that we have every year was regular town hall. And I should say too, before I move on, we were able to raise over $10,000 in donations towards the scholarship. And hopefully next year, there might be one, an actual scholarship breakfast, but if not, we will still continue on. And then the town hall was a virtual event, very well received. I thought the questionnaire that we asked people got some good responses. As far as the terms of reference, see them there, we didn't make any changes there.
Thank you, Jen. Any questions for Jen? All right, next we'll have Division Wellness Committee. Donna.
Well, I think everybody in the whole school system, probably the whole world now, has had wellness on their mind and trying to stay in balance so that we're all stay well. So the Wellness Committee has promoted wellness well this year, and I really want to say something about how champions that work in the school with their throwdown challenges. They were so fun, and all through the school system, everybody would be more conscious about getting enough sleep. Are you drinking water? Are you doing something for wellness? Are you feeling grateful? So that you're looking at all the different aspects of wellness. And the other thing we did this year was promote wellness by getting more kids outside, by talking outside. So more wellness grants were given out for schools to help get kids outside and for projects that would take kids outside. So that's my report, and I know that next year we'll be looking at wellness again.
Thanks so much, Donna. Any questions for Donna? All right, let's go to Facilities Committee. Doug.
All right, yes, the report's in front of you. First of all, I do want to acknowledge some of the individuals on that. Daniel Heaton, Chris Chapman, Jan Foster joined me on that, and along with Christine Lee, and you know, very proud of what they've been doing as far as improvements, projects that we've had. Capital plan is in place. The fact that we opened up a new school, Dr. Robert Claxton, what a great design, and the fact that we're now approved with Gary Station Elementary and 900 student school. Attached to this report, you will see all the projects that are listed, and there's what's ongoing, what's completed. You can scroll through that at your own leisure, but again, it's really nice to see this plan, and again, accolades to Dan Heaton for putting this all together because it is massive and well looked after. So as far as any of the other information, I think I said it's public document, please take a look at it. And, if there's any questions, I'll try to answer them now.
Seeing none, Doug, you can move on to Indigenous Education.
All right. This is one of my favorite committees. First of all, I again want to thank Morag Asquith and John Chief Down. Over the 4 years, we've come a long ways, and it's so nice to see that we've got a committee that's working well together. Some of our initiatives that you could read in there is that we've implemented under the guidance of Morag and John, the grad coach program. One of the most positive things I've seen in the last 4 years is that we were able to hire and secure Indigenous teachers, and we need to do more of that. I believe that brings better communication, brings our community together. One of the big goals over the last 4 years is to have our Indigenous families feel comfortable coming to our school, being part of the community. And I think that's a goal that we're continuing to look at and to move forward on that. That's been pretty positive. And you know, the other thing is the final graduation of the students, and the celebration is terrific. And we have elders involved, we have community members, special gifts that are given to the Indigenous students, and it really brings a great celebration and a great closure to their time in our division. And so I really thank all of you for letting me be on that committee for that. So there's more information you can sure gather. Try to answer any questions, or Jan can jump in. Oh, Jan, you were in the other. Sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you, Doug. Are there any questions for Doug? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you, Doug. Next up, Lola, we have the Policy Advisory Committee. Would you like to speak to the report?
Policy Advisory Committee. Sorry. On September 1st, and because you know the following one, policy 304, on sports for principal, policy 405, staff meetings, policy 405, 1.4, employment consulting activities and services to other agencies, and policy 405, 0.15, employee research and intellectual property rights. The properties and distributed stakeholder feedback, and we will probably mention in October. The next meeting will be held October 6th.
Great. Thank you so much,
With
Lola.
the new ones.
With the new one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lola.
You're welcome.
All right, next up, we have Poverty Intervention Committee. That is mine, and I've had the pleasure of serving on that for the past 4 years. And what I love about this committee is I get to see the many ways that the community comes together to support our students and our staff. And we have incredible people in our community. We also have incredible needs in our students' body. And so my report is there before you. One thing that I've seen improvement on this year especially is just streamlining information and streamlining awareness of needs within our division. And just for staff and community, but particularly staff, to know where to go to find support, know where to go to connect to students to get the support they need. And so we heard from Deanna Trustee Roberts earlier in our meeting, and she does a phenomenal job leading our support team. And I know our staff capacity is growing and how to come alongside our families and our students. So are there any questions from that report? Is there none? We'll move to Spirit of 51. Tyler.
This committee has been a little challenge in the last year and a half. It's been one of those committees that actually brings people together. So we do some different things with
luncheon type event for support staff and our Friends of 51 program like we just had today, which worked out really well actually. So that may be something good to come out of it. But unfortunately, this program has been a little stifled in the things that have gone on just because, like I say, it's more of a meeting thing. But so thanks to Jolene at Central Office here for all the work she does on this. Get it all together, but everything's kind of there, and it does list all the businesses and people that really support our division that we honor today. So that is up there, and in case anyone has any questions, that's it.
Thank you, Tyler. Any questions? All right, and the final is Superintendent's Evaluation Committee. The evaluation of Dr. Gemler was performed in May, the final evaluation of the school year. And before you is the policy 301.1 regarding the superintendent evaluation as well as the terms of reference. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, we will go, it's 3 minutes 5. It is 3 minutes short time for public forum. Garrett, do we have any submissions?
It's all done through Teams now, so just depends on who looks up for Teams.
It's all done. Okay. You don't have anyone? All right. Having that 4:57, we will move on to superintendent's report. Oh no, sorry, I totally skipped down. Associate Superintendent Report. My apologies. Business and Operations, Christine.
Thank you very much, Christine. The report is in the document. Of course, you know, when we talk about facilities, of course we can't help but and talk about the opening of Dr. Robert Clark's Elementary School. It's been a labor of love, I think, for the facilities department for the last couple of years. There's nothing more exciting than building schools. It's one of my favorite parts of my job, besides the money. Of course, a lot of projects, and Doug talked about the projects. One of the major projects that we did this year was an energy improvement project that impacted 5 elementary schools and LCI. LCI had one of the most work done in its facility this summer, besides getting classrooms ready for the new students, some of our partners around, and we added sports medicine space that's still ongoing. But they had major work done with their air handling and ventilation work to really upgrade those components that need to repair. It's a big project that we were hoping to have completed by the end of summer. Unfortunately, due to supply chain issues, there was a delay. So right now we have contractors working from 3:30 in the afternoon to 2:30 in the morning, so that they're not disrupting learning to get that done to be done in the next couple of weeks. We talk about some of the other work done in our schools with lighting at our elementary schools, and then along with that, some painting. If you go into Park Meadows Elementary School, you will see a completely changed school just because of the lighting and the painting that was done. Brightened up with our standard white paint, and then the white lights, LED lights. What an amazing difference in that school. So I encourage you to take a look at it. Finance, of course, it's audit season, and then it's also a budget review season. We'll have our enrollment numbers, so we'll make those adjustments, and you'll see that information in November. Occupational health and safety. We're happy that we have a really great site-based committees, and so we orientate them each year to health and safety. And they're our eyes and ears on the ground when it comes to promoting safety and making sure that our facilities are safe, not only for our staff, but our students and our visitors. So I just wanted to mention the value that they bring. Of course, the technology department is always on the move and doing a lot of work in our schools over the summers. They're helping with a variety of projects. We have a virtual reality project from Claxton. They're supporting the online learning opportunities. We finally switched over from all our Xerox copier machines to Minoltas this summer. And so we're excited on that new opportunity. And, as mentioned with facilities impacted by supply chain issues for our contractors getting work done, technology space supply chain issues, as well as freight costs that have been skyrocketing. So we're trying to navigate that, of course, with the pocket of money that we have. So that's always a challenge. Transportation. Thank you, Doug, for mentioning First Right. It was so much fun, and we had over 100 families participate, and we were excited. I think I was more excited that we were handing out hot dogs and chips to the kids and the families when they showed up, and just seeing their faces, their smiling faces, really enjoying the day. And also, that was the weekend we were with the Dr. Claxton playground, so I was able to get that first-hand feedback from the kids on the playground. And yes, it has been a challenge with our busing this year. We have had a really rough start. With scheduling, late buses, and really, we've been talking with Sept. They're making changes as they can. One of the things we really need to do to fix most of the problems is add more buses and more bus drivers. And there is a provincial shortage on bus drivers. So Southland is doing what they can to recruit bus drivers. On Friday, they held a hiring fair offering $3,000 bonuses for drivers who already have some qualifications, because then they don't have to have as much extensive training. The training is extensive because they have to have the mandatory entry-level training that is required, and so that takes longer to get a bus driver up and running. And so they're doing their best to get as many drivers, and we're tweaking schedules as we can, and we're building on any concerns of parents. And I understand parents are frustrated, and have some nervous students as well from some of the right times. So we are trying our best to work with Southland on getting that. And then other items, just a reminder, get out and vote. Elections are October 18th, and good luck to everyone who's running in the elections, and thank you to our trustees for your service this time.
Thank you so much, Christine. Are there any questions for Christine? Well, I know transportation has been a struggle, a fight, and I thank you for all of the hard work and all of the advocacy that you have been doing. I know you have, Christine Lee has been fighting hard for our students and families to get excellent service from Southland, and I know that you will continue to advocate for students. So I just want to thank you for all of the hard work that you and Cheryl Shibashi have been putting into our transportation the past few weeks. Thank you. All right, do I see a yes for public forum? That's
Yes, I don't know.
is there a way to find out? There's a guest that's popped up on our team, so we're just inquiring if this individual would like to speak to a public forum. Right, as we wait. Okay. Thank you, Owen. Glad you're joining us today. All right, now we'll move on to our instructional services report. All right.
Everything is really in the report. I think it'd be really unfortunate if I didn't highlight the amazing stuff that's going on in our schools this week in recognition of residential schools, and especially given the current events of what has happened over the last 4 months. It's so heartwarming to see the dedication that our schools, our teachers, our principals are investing into really showing respect to our history that is really uncomfortable and something we're not proud of, and that we want to really reconcile and work through and support Indigenous culture and celebrate the value in continuing to build empathy and relationships and Blackfoot language that we're continuing to highlight. And yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that we recognize that work that we are doing in our schools. And my report is there in front for you to peruse. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to.
Thank you, Maureen. Are there any questions for Maureen? All right, seeing none. I see David Houston has joined us via Teams. David, are you hoping to speak to the board through the public forum today? All right, as we wait for a response, we will move on to human resources. Mike.
Okay, so a few things in the report. First of all, most of our staffing is teacher staffing. There's always staffing that occurs, but we have pretty much the vast majority of our staffing in place for the school year, so that's been good. As with any year, there's always some hotspots that arise, and more kids in some classes than we anticipated, and have to split the classes, that sort of thing. In terms of support staff, still a little ways to go there to get all the positions filled, but certainly making good progress. As always, with every September, August time, the HR team plays a really important role in working with new administrators, new administrative assistants, just to make sure they understand how the system works in the background. So certainly kudos to the team for that. In relation to enrollment, as you can see, we're up from last year. Projected right now, we're up around 430 kids, so that number will change by the end of September. And we're also up from 2019, a little over 200 kids in our K-12. When you include our early learning, we're up about 33 from 2019 and about 383 from 2020. In terms of class sizes, you can see the class sizes for elementary there. Those are averages, so you can get some variances in the class sizes. And just one word of note, in terms of the grade 1 classes, one of the things we had to do, we provided some additional staff that won't necessarily show up and impact class size numbers. And the reason we did that is we had some awkward size grade 1 classes where we put in sort of some additional teacher time, maybe not a full teacher. So we didn't split the class, but we maybe in the afternoon the class would be split into 3 groups instead of 2 groups, so they can get some more personalized literacy and numeracy support. That sort of thing. And then of course the last page, I'm looking forward to the day when that's not part of my report template about COVID-19. That stayed pretty much the same for a long time, and eventually it'll come out. But just as you well know, we continue to be challenged by the uncertainty that COVID creates for us. And it is time consuming for everybody in schools, for the human resources department as well. It really impacts all levels of the organization. So we continue to do that work and hope that we can provide support and help navigate the uncertain times for our town. That's it for me, unless anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions? Yes.
You have had issues with teams going down and coming back up again. So David has responded to that.
David, welcome. Can you hear me? We can see you here in the boardroom, and I can see your chat. Having some technical issues getting audio from YouTube, but my camera and my does your microphone work? We're seeing if we have to fix it on our end, David. Oh, there you are. It's a whisper. Maybe we can turn our volume up.
You can hear me at all?
Oh, wonderful. Yes, we're on. We're connected. We were also having technical issues on our end.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can you hear me, David?
I can talk up a little bit.
No, you were great. Can you hear me? Can you type that we're talking?
Yes, I can. I can. And you can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. Can I address the school board, or is that okay?
Leanne, can you type that? Please address the school board.
Oh, yeah. Okay, whenever I'll stand by. Yes.
Just apologize. We can't hear us. I don't know why.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry, I don't think this is gonna work. The YouTube that I'm using for audio is lagged, so I'm hearing myself like echoed way later, so. Yeah.
Ask them if you'd like to type this.
Yeah, maybe I'll type my concern and I'm just listening for the response.
It's been posted. My concern is with masking in schools. Every day I take my daughter to school. I'm afraid she doesn't get COVID. I wish that the board would mandate that students keep masks on while instruction. Lola, can you see the words from where you are?
Yeah.
Okay, then I won't read it out loud. Were there?
It's exactly what you said.
Okay, yeah, I'm just typing now.
Okay.
Leanne, can you please type, we sincerely apologize for the technical difficulties we're experiencing, which is inhibiting us from communicating directly with you. And I'm going to give you the card. This technical difficulties we're experiencing that are, yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, perfect. Hold on a second. David, you can hear us? You can. Oh, there you are. Okay, yes, I see that now. Sorry. Okay. I was running to Leanne with my response when you typed that up, so I didn't see that you typed that. You can hear us talking. Thank you, David, for, is there more that you would like to add? Okay. Thank you, David, for connecting with us here at the public forum. Typically a public forum, what process is we take the concern, and we don't respond right away. You can expect a letter, of response. So on the behalf of the board, I would like to thank you for your presentation and expressing your concerns. We appreciate public members coming forward to express or concern their perspective, and we thank you for the time that you've taken to do that. And David, you can be assured that the board will carefully consider what you've said today and provide a response to you prior to the next board meeting. Thank you. I think he disappeared.
No, we lost. Sorry.
He's very good.
He is hearing me on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good.
Thank you, David, for joining us. For some reason, we keep losing our internet here in this workroom. You can be assured that you will be reached out to before the next board meeting regarding your query. Okay, before we move on to the superintendent report, I would just like to say to Mike, Christy, and Lori, thank you for your faithful reports every month and keeping the board members in the loop of all that you are doing in your areas of expertise and service, and it just enables us to serve and make decisions better. And so thank you for your transparency and sharing and the time that you take to create these reports for us. Thank you. Cheryl, superintendent reports.
I'll start with the board priority report. Now, as you know, we've moved into assurance model of planning and reporting, and so your board priority report is now in the structure of the domains. So the domains, of course, governance, student growth and achievement, teaching and learning outcomes, and learning support outcomes. The three board priorities that are currently the board priorities, which are achievement and inclusion and innovation, are embedded in those domains that are part of the provincial assurance planning requirements. And so if we turn to the report to the board under domain of governance, and again, the intent of the priority report to the board is to keep the board apprised month to month the activities that have been engaged in throughout the school division across different departments for trying to meet the board priorities and the outcomes that are outlined in the assurance plan. So engagement of stakeholders. I know a trustee already mentioned the Southland Transportation First Ride event in August, and certainly on a daily basis, and I have to say, Alberta Health Services, Southstone, very responsive. Certainly, I know that people feel frustrated with, we've had lots of public say, how come we're not getting the COVID tracing piece, how come we're not getting the quarantine piece, how come we're not, because of those, decisions made by health at a provincial level. That doesn't discount the fact that Alberta House Self-Services really is very collaborative, communicative, supportive. I know that Laura Gaspar, the Associate Superintendent of Instructional Services, is in contact with Alberta Health Services, so almost on a daily basis, certainly, and so we feel very supported. And I know that people feel that there's not sort of attention to the health services domain, but there is. It looks different. It just simply looks different, and I know that, you know, some people are feeling exasperated or nervous about that, but we are in constant contact and are appreciative of the how communicative the Alberta Health Services themselves are. Reentry survey, we talked about that already, and those results will go out and on our engagement website. And you can see there's a whole list of things that we do with the City of Lethbridge as a partner, all the way from committees to decision making to working on site development and get readying a site for capital, a P3 capital project and so forth. Those are all listed there, and we thank and are grateful for our partnership with the City of Lethbridge, including in the near future, they're hosting sort of the elections, taking care of our trustee elections along with the municipal elections. And under the domain for student growth and achievement, I've already mentioned, you know, huge pay to Paramount State Curricular Director and her team for putting together what they need to do to meet the requirements of the COVID gap funding by the end of September. I have to say, over the summer, I'm just pulling out some highlights. We had sort of almost like a pilot project with our on-campus education, trying to put those courses in the summertime. And Andrew Kroll, of course, oversaw that, and Kerry Brown contracted this over to help with some registered apprenticeship program and off-campus programming pieces as well. And I mean, the students went, it went very well. They earned 1,119 credits over the course of the summer. And that sort of will start a trend where we are gearing our credits for work experience during the summer. That looks different, is structured differently for funding. So those will be start to build a 3-year profile for work experience in the summer. Re-entry to school, I've talked about the amazing work the schools have done. Something that's exciting going on in some elementary schools is we are piloting the digital portfolio tool, All About Me. And I think that will be very welcome, exciting for parents, because their students will begin to develop early on a digital portfolio where their work from primary level, from early on in elementary, and then the goal, of course, is that that will continue to be captured in that digital portfolio all the way through their school years. So that's an exciting project for sure, and Jessica Zavalski and Paramount are leading that project. Our early learning, a legacy, what I call a legacy, Ms. Belpom, who of course retired last year. We're in a university project building brains together. Someone to be very proud of that project. It's incredibly innovative. It's in partnership with the Lethbridge Department of Neuroscience, Dr. Robin Gibb and Claudia Gonzalez. And it's about sort of engaging parents at home with working with young children and brain development. So that's an exciting project. I'm sure we'll have some outcomes of that project to report to the board later this year. I know that Morag has spoken to, and Doug spoke a little bit as well, to Indigenous education and the fine work that's being done in growing the lens of that portfolio over the course of time. And Morag has already talked about, you know, the importance of the National Holiday Day for Reconciliation and Truth, and the kinds of things that are happening in our schools. And more existed there, some things that are happening in our Indigenous education and delivery of support to schools, including that Think Outside project that was launched and then didn't go all the way to last year, if I'm remembering correctly, and now is being launched again in collaboration with the Helen Schuler Nature Center. Wellness, anti-racism and anti-oppression committee, and doing some work in that area. Diversity, I know that there's been a diversity, and policy starting to be collated, and we've got we have a diversity chart as well that provides some feedback throughout the year. Our international program is exploding actually, and it's thriving with students wanting to come to Lethbridge. So certainly, Trish who oversees that program, is an amazing ambassador, representative of Lethbridge School Division, and starting to have to sift and sort in terms of where our limits are and our capacity is, and trying to look at some working on that. Our teaching and learning, we had recently, just the end of last week, I think the leaders for administrators are learning administrative symposium, and really fitting in with the priorities of student achievement as well as innovation, with developing leaders as thinkers, developing teachers as thinkers, and then of course developing their students as thinkers, and the pedagogy that gets them to that. Some cross-ministry initiatives there, as well as at the bottom, and we talked about that at length, sort of some COVID response pieces that have been worked on over the course of the last month, including moving forward this week with the restrictions and production program for our first attempt at our restrictions and exemption program this coming Friday after our football games at the University of Lethbridge Stadium. Is there any questions?
Seeing none, Cheryl, you can continue on with the mission report.
I know that we already mentioned on a few occasions the spirit of 51 and the amazing support that individuals in our community and businesses provide to schools. And every month you can see on this agenda item the generous support that does go to the schools, and we're very fortunate in Lethbridge. And of course, we have the already mentioned earlier in the meeting presentation by Deanna was the 800 backpacks donated by Southern Alberta Summer Games, and of course our core memory through the Lethbridge Community Foundation and Columbus and Daytona Urban Development. So certainly, Ready Set Go sponsors made a significant difference, as was already pointed out. And we've got the My City Care and YMCA was also mentioned in our report or her presentation, and served approximately 2,000 students. But when you stop and think about making a difference to that day when you walk into the school, your very first day of school, when you need to be proud of having your supplies, proud of your backpack, proud of who you are, that's a huge number of students. We're very fortunate to have that kind of support from our community. Acknowledgement of excellence and highlights. The pattern, we've got Tyler and Stacey Graff, who are the pickleball national champions this summer, as a teacher and a substitute teacher as a white team. Now, moving forward, starting next month, every month there'll be a school or two schools or three schools that are showcased in the Acknowledgement of Excellence. Of course, this is the first Acknowledgement of Excellence, so rather than try to press schools during the very busy month of September to provide us with some highlights or showcase of their schools, we just pulled some of the comments from our re-entry survey from students and parents and staff that sort of showcase what was great about the beginning of school. So it's one of those, you can read through that and smile, and certainly know that the beginning of the school year, that day of walking into the school, that first day of school was a good day. If you take a look and read through those comments. And World Teachers Day, that's an annual event, and certainly it's a day that's sort of since 1994, held annually on October 5th, and it's to recognize the quality education at all levels and recognize those who serve students, and make sure that we are always showcasing and highlighting the importance of education. So we do showcase this on our website and certainly send out information to the staff that support our students.
calendar of events for the Board of Trustees, unless there's anything missing, that's the events as presented on that calendar. Any questions?
We have a wellness meeting on the floor of October.
Oh, bonus meeting. Thank you, Donna.
And a poverty intervention meeting on October 5th. Any more questions for Cheryl?
Actually, I think that, is it the 20th of the October 20th? October 20th, the trustee meet and greet instead of the 22nd.
Yeah.
Great, thank you so much, Cheryl. All right, we'll move on to our reports. The first is the Policy Advisory Committee. I believe Lola gave that to us earlier. So we will move on to Facilities Committee.
That was already.
That was already done as well, I believe. The Audit Committee, already done. And ASBA General Meeting.
Just a couple of things. The fall general meeting is going to be hybrid. You can go there and, or also you can attend it online. The new trustee orientation is online and so is the board chair orientation. Zone 6, I don't know what, probably are online, but they haven't done.
Thank you, Donna. Now we move on to correspondence received. We received one from Minister LaGrange regarding receiving feedback on the new draft curriculum and just the desire to continue to meet to get the perspectives of all school divisions with curriculum development. Another one from Minister regarding reporting process. Alberta School Council Association, Alberta Infrastructure. That was an exciting one, especially for Christine Lee, having approval for upsizing of the gymnasium planned for the elementary school in Gary Station in West Lethbridge, and from the city of Lethbridge as well. And we sent out a letter of thanks to the city of Lethbridge. And this brings our meeting to an end. So I will now adjourn our meeting and we will move back to our in-camera meeting to complete that meeting. Thank you, everyone. Take care.